Player ratings then. Aston Villa 0, Everton 0 at Villa Park. Another frustrating, disappointing result for Everton. We huffed, we puffed, we tried, we created chances, but look, the reality of the situation is we just don't have enough quality. And what that tells us all, I think, is that playing on a Sunday and playing on a Thursday with this current squad maybe isn't possible. And that's what it'd be if we were in Europe. So can we still finish in Europe? Probably, maybe. Who knows? It all depends on the teams around us dropping points, I think, because I don't expect a much different performance on Sunday against Sheffield United. But if we do, we need heavy investments. I mean, we need heavy investments anyway, but certainly if we finish in Europe. Anyway, let's get straight into the player ratings. Jordan Pickford, have given him a 7. Didn't really have anything to do whatsoever, did he? Aston Villa didn't really threat at all throughout the game. I think they had one chance, one clear chance with Tyrone Mings in the first half, where he was left completely on his own in the box and he headed it wide. He should have done much better with it, to be perfectly honest. But he heads it wide, and other than that, I don't think they had much whatsoever. Traore had a shot in the first half, which was comfortable for Pickford to save. He come out and collected a couple from corners, but he wasn't really threatened at all in any of the game, and he didn't really put a foot wrong either. So Jordan Pickford's getting a 7. Luca Dean, I've given him a 7 as well. Getting forward, he was playing some dangerous balls into the box. I think one of the big issues today was that we were trying to play floated crosses and floated free kicks into the Aston Villa penalty area, seemingly forgetting that their goalkeeper is about 75 foot tall, so it was comfortable all day. It was just absolute light work for them to come out and collect those crosses. But Luca did put a couple of menacing ones into the box, and we just couldn't get on the end of it. Defensively, he didn't really do much wrong either, to be perfectly honest with you. He got fouled as well a couple of times as well, and then Villa just completely got away with it because I think Martin Atkinson had a couple of quid on them, to be honest with you. Luca Dean's getting a 7 then. Michael Keane's getting a 7.5. Thought Michael Keane had a decent game today. Dealt with the majority of everything that he needed to deal with. There was one opportunity that I remember where he was just caught out of a position, I think, and it ended up going behind her. But then I think Ben Godfrey come over and the absolute man mountain that he is just completely and utterly sorted the situation out. But other than that, I think Michael Keane had a solid game, to be fair. Didn't really put a foot wrong. Like I said, Aston, it wasn't a great game. Everton created the more of the opportunities and probably should have won the game with the opportunities we created, but Aston Villa didn't really have much whatsoever. So it wasn't a difficult night for the defenders, but nevertheless, they done what they had to do and they done it well. So Michael Keane is getting a 7.5. Ben Godfrey's getting an 8, my man of the match today. Again, very, very, very solid. There was one chance when Jack Grealish come on the pitch where he's absolutely pelting it down the left-hand side of the pitch, and I think Michael Keane's goosed at this point. Mason Allgate loses him. Seamus Coleman, I think, might even be on the pitch at this point, and Ben Godfrey tracks the run absolutely brilliantly and just stays alongside him. Does enough to put him off, make sure he doesn't foul him in the box, doesn't do any stupid. We know Jack Grealish likes a tumble in the box with very minimal contact, but Ben does really, really well to just stay alongside him and basically parry him out of away from the goal. So Ben Godfrey's getting an 8 today. Again, another excellent performance. Didn't put a foot wrong all game. Defended really well. Got forward on a couple of times where you could see he was trying to break into that space in the midfield that the midfielders weren't breaking into because they didn't look interested. So Ben is getting an 8. Mason Allgate, I've given Mason a 7 as well. To be honest with you, he misplaced a couple of passes. He did. It's no secret that he misplaced a couple of passes, but for the majority of the game, I think he had a solid game. Obviously playing at right back, should have been playing right centre back in a back 5, but that's what Ancelotti decides to do. And like I said, I think he had a solid game for the majority of it. Misplaced a couple of passes, caught out of position 1 or 2 times, but other than that, was pretty solid. Like I said, the defence were decent for the entire game. They were decent. They weren't put under much pressure by Aston Villa, but they done the job. They done what they had to do, and they done it well. So Mason's getting a 7. Into the midfield, then this is where it drops drastically. By the way, if you're watching now thinking, how are these players getting these ratings? This is where it drops drastically. Seamus Coleman's getting a 4. Shocking by Seamus today. In Seamus Coleman's defence, I don't think the setup helped them whatsoever. I think playing as a straight right midfielder just wasn't really ideal for him. I think he'd had much more with a much better game playing as a right wing back with Luca Dean as a left wing back on the other side, but he just wasn't in the game whatsoever, wasn't getting forward. He put in 2 or 3 crosses early on in the game which were just dreadful, absolutely dreadful. You can't have a right midfielder who can't cross a ball. And I know that sort of contradicts us having him as a right wing back, because he's going to need to cross it as a right wing back. But when he's a wing back, he gets further up the pitch, he gets into the box, he gets into areas where he doesn't really need to cross it. He just really needs to get something on it and lash it across the box. But today, he was on the edge of the box and his crossing was absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. I don't think he had a great game whatsoever. So Seamus is getting a 4. Alan's getting a 5. Rectified himself in the second half a little bit, but ran absolutely riot in the first half. Was just massively off the pace. And this is what I mean before when I talked about Everton showing today that we're just not good enough to play twice in 1 week. We're not good enough to play on a Sunday and play on a Thursday, because the reality of the situation is Alan was absolutely excellent against West Ham. It was a world-class performance. He was everywhere. He was battling. His energy was there. Today you could see that if we finish in Europe, then Alan probably isn't going to play both games, the Premier League game and the European game, because he showed today that that energy wasn't there. On the ball, like I said, he was okay and he looked more comfortable in the second half, but in the first half he got turned 4 or 5 times and was just completely left for dead, like he did against Villa at Goodison Park a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, not as great as the games. Alan, to be fair, I've given him a 5. Abdoulaye Doucouré, he's getting a 5 as well. Again, come back in from injury, which was absolutely brilliant to see, but ultimately, didn't have as great as the games did he. Look, you know what you get with Abdoulaye Doucouré. You get the energy, you get the effort, you get the intensity, you get the legs, but none of us have been in any sort of doubt that he needs to improve quality-wise. His passing is poor, and he needs to improve on that. His sort of positioning, not his positioning, but when he got the ball on the edge of the opposition box, he had a brilliant chance, to be fair, an absolute brilliant chance in the second half where the ball's played into him. I think it's by Sigurdsson, and he's literally just has to take it in control, and he's either got a clear shot on goal, there's no defenders in his way, or given that there's no defenders in his way, he's got the space to move into and then get a shot in on goal from maybe the 6-yard box. But he doesn't. He plays it right back, and it's almost like he's sort of looked at it and gone, oh no, I don't want to take that responsibility going into the box, which is unusual for Abdoulaye Doucouré, because usually he does. But look, I'm not going to go too harsh on him. He's just come back from a long time out injured. He wasn't an absolute disaster, but I just don't think he was a massive asset today. I question whether we'd have been better with having Tom Davies in there and Doucouré maybe coming in at the weekend. But the reality of the situation is Doucouré isn't going to get up to that match fitness. He isn't going to get up to that sharpness unless he plays games. We've seen it with Alan. We had to go through 3 or 4 bad games with Alan for him to get up to what was the West Ham performance last week. And again, I know he wasn't great this week, but I know he wasn't great today. But ultimately, is it any surprise that we can't, is it any surprise that Everton's squad, Everton's midfield certainly, who are made up of 27, 28, 29-year-olds, can't play twice in 1 week? We know what we need in the summer. We need youth, we need mobility, we need physicality, we need pace, we need it all, and we need it quick, because if we finish in Europe, that game showed today that we aren't strong enough to play in Europe. We haven't got enough quality in the team. But yeah, I'm not going to go too deep in on Doucouré. He's just come back from injury, but I'm not going to also sit here and give him an 8, 9 out of 10 when he wasn't that. He was a 5 for me. Gylfi Sigurdsson then on the left is getting a 4. And again, there's an element of me that feels a little bit for Gylfi Sigurdsson. He's not a left midfielder. He shouldn't be playing on the left of midfield. I know you could say, well, he wasn't. He was sort of in the centre of midfield, but that was his role. Luca Dean was playing firmly at left back for at least the majority of the game, and it was Sigurdsson's role to do the left midfield job, and he can't do that because he's not a winger. He's got no pace. Wasn't in the game at all whatsoever. Didn't create anything. Didn't do anything defensively. He's probably lucky to get a 4, to be honest with you. He really is. In fact, I'm not going to change his mark now, but I didn't want to give him a 3.5 and look like I was singling him out. But at least Coleman put a couple of balls into the box, albeit they were dreadful. I don't think Gylfi done much whatsoever. I think he played 1 pass through to Richarlison, who absolutely fluffed it. But yeah, Gylfi Sigurdsson not great again today, so he's getting a 4. Richarlison, I've given him a 6. Huffed and puffed a little bit again. Worked hard, to be fair, Richarlison. He did. He got about the pitch and he was battling and he was trying to create space for himself. He was trying to create opportunities. He single-handedly created the Andre Gomez chance. He played a great ball into Gomez. Gomez turns brilliantly, and if Gomez has got a footballing brain, he plays him Richarlison back in and he's in the box and he slots it and we win the game. But he doesn't. He decides to shoot and it ends up, like I said, knocking on my back door before, asking if he can come in for a Bruder ball. It was an awful attempt. But yeah, again, just missing that quality in the final third, really. There was a couple of times when Richarlison picked the ball up and, his final touch just let him down, or he done all the hard work and then his pass let him down at the end of it. It wasn't good enough today by Richarlison. And I sit here and say you can't really fault the effort, you can't knock the work rate, but ultimately, like I said it in the instant match reaction, we're not at the point in the season where we can say players worked hard today, players battled. Where we, was it the worst performance of the season? No. Yes, we were slow, lethargic, we had no energy, but let's be honest, we've seen that for 90% of the season. At least in this game, we created opportunities, we just didn't have the quality to take them. But like I said, we're not at that point in the season where we can say, we just didn't take our chances today. We needed a win. Effectively, we really, really needed the win and we didn't get it. So Richie's getting a 6. And then Dom, I've given him a 7 again. He didn't really have as clear cut of a chance. He had one in the first half, but it ended up being offside and he struck it straight at Martinez anyway. But he didn't really have that cutthroat chance that you'd say, we missed, and that's the reason as to why we haven't won the game. He had a header in the second half, which I actually think he does really well with, to be honest. The one that ends up forcing Martinez into a save, I actually think he does really well with, because again, it's another floating cross, and for him to get as much power and accuracy on that header, I think says a lot for Dom, to be honest with you, because it was not a great cross whatsoever. But yeah, like I said, ran round, worked hard, found him coming into the midfield areas, coming into trying to pick the ball up from the centre halves again, trying to create something for the team, which is all well and good, and I appreciate that and I respect that work rate. But the reality is for Dom is if he's having to drop into the centre midfield role to pick the ball up and pass it off, that means that when the ball gets to Luca Dean or Sigurdsson or whatever, Dom's not in the box. So more often than not, it gets to the wide areas, it comes in and it gets headed out because Dom's only just coming back into the box after trying to create the chance. We just didn't have anybody that really took responsibility tonight, and like I said, Dom is getting a 7 for his work rate, but didn't really have anything, did he? Onto the substitute bench then. Andre Gomez is getting a 5.5. Yeah, I don't want to be too harsh on Andre Gomez, but I've said it time and time again, he isn't good enough to play for Everton. He isn't good enough to start for Everton. And the big issue I have with Carlo Ancelotti is, if you're going to bring Andre Gomez on when you're searching for a goal, why not bring Tom Davies on? I get the whole point of, we were looking for a goal, so why would you bring Tom Davies on? That's fine. When you bring Andre Gomez on, you're effectively saying that you think Andre Gomez can do a better job than Tom Davies, and it's been evident in the last week that Andre Gomez can't do a better job than Tom Davies. He has 2 clear chances. He sort of adopted a different role today, Gomez, than what we usually see him in. He adopted a sort of number 10 role, and that obviously meant that he had a couple of chances that fell to him. One, I think he does really well with to cut inside. He dummies the defender brilliantly, but then he showed that he's got no composure and he's got no technical ability to hit the target, which is why the ball ended up 45 mile in the air. The most frustrating thing about that, by the way, is the fact that Richarlison's free on his own in the box and he doesn't play him in because he simply doesn't look up and see him. And the second one, I think he's sort of having flashbacks of the first one and thinking, I just need to hit this hard and low and get it on target. And it's it is on target and it's an alright shot, but it's always going to be very easy for the defender to deal with. And that's my issue with Carlo Ancelotti is, why did we bring in Josh King? Why did we bother signing Josh King? I'm not having any of this nonsense by Carlo and saying he's professional, he's working well, he's being an important player. He's not. He's very clearly not good enough. He's very clearly not fit enough. Hence why he was blown out of his arse after 5 minutes the other night. And he's very clearly not good enough. Because when you're searching for a goal in a crucial game with 4 games to go that you know you need to win, and you're bringing on a centre midfielder who scored 1 goal in 3.5 years, and 1 goal in 3 years, so you should say, and has proven time and time again he's not good enough over this striker that's doing really well in training and working hard, then he's clearly not good enough. Stop pulling the wool over our eyes. Stop bullshitting us. Just come out and say, yeah, he won't be here at the end of the season. He hasn't really impressed. Or at least, don't say it now, but when he leaves and you get questioned on it, don't pull the wool over our eyes and act like it just didn't work out. I'd rather you just come out and go, he's fucking shite, mate. He's not fit and he's crap. I'm not saying he is, and I think he could have done a lot better with the chances that Andre Gomez had, but it's clear that there's something going on there. It's clear that he's not trusted or he's not good enough to come in. And yeah, there you go. Gomez 5.5. And then Alex Iwobi, I give him a 6. He come on, he made a tackle, he got himself into a decent area, but he just didn't really do much, did he? He hummed, he hard, he huffed, he puffed, and he didn't really make much whatsoever. I'm not blaming Alex Iwobi, by the way, because I don't think he could have done much. Like I said, I think we could be playing still now. I think we could be playing tomorrow. Saturday, Sunday, and we still wouldn't score. It was just a disappointing performance, a disappointing game. We created chances. We should have took those chances, we didn't, and we showed, for me today, for the majority of the game, why this squad isn't. There's just not enough quality, not enough fitness, not enough about it to play twice a week. And in Europe, we've got to play twice a week, and that's the big worry going into next season. Can we still finish in a European position? Yeah, maybe. Maybe we can. Maybe we can't. I'm not going to say no, because then if we beat Sheffield United, they'll probably come on here and go, yeah, it's on. I think other teams will drop points, which will help us massively. But this team isn't good enough to play in Europe, and I'll sit here and I'll say that if Everton finish 7th at the end of the season, 6th at the end of the season, whatever, I'll sit here on the review and I'll say this squad isn't good enough to go into next season playing in Europe. So we need heavy investment. We need heavy investment anyway. But again, today showed that the likes of Alam, even Sigurdsson, Seamus Coleman, they can't play twice in 1 week. They simply can't do it. Decore only just coming back in. And we just haven't got the strength in depth. And I really worry that Sunday is going to be the same. I worry that you'll see Alan on Sunday and he won't be able to keep up because he played too much. I worry you'll see Seamus Coleman on Sunday because we've got no other right back. But Seamus can't play 3 games in a week. It's impossible for him. But yeah, not enough quality, not enough energy, not enough. We often puff, we fought a little bit, but I just don't think this squad's good enough. Like I said, there'll probably be a load of comments and there'll probably be a load of people on Twitter saying the players don't care, they didn't want it, they didn't fight, they didn't show like it was a final. I question that a bit, I do, because did every player show 110%? Probably not, but I'm starting to fall into this thought process is that the players aren't not showing 100% because they don't care. They're not showing 100% because they're knackered and they're not good enough. At what point do we start sitting here and just thinking, actually, maybe this squad just isn't good enough whatsoever to play twice in 1 week, to fight for the challenge for Europe? Maybe we just don't have enough quality. It's such an easy way out to say, oh, the players don't care, they're not interested, because that's automatically assuming that these players can perform better. Well, I get that we've seen against West Ham, they can perform better. But 3 days later, can they? Do we expect them to turn up and do any better when, again, there's clearly no energy, there's clearly no mobility, there's not enough quality going forward. We're relying on Dominic Calvert-Lewin having one chance and scoring it. We're relying on Richarlison doing something and scoring it. We're relying on a bit of James magic. Not today, but we have done previously. When was the last time we beat a team 2-0? 3-0? We've won games recently, but it's 1-0. It's one chance, one goal. And we've also dropped points. Palace, Brighton, not Brighton, we didn't have a chance against Brighton. Palace, today, even Villa the other week, where we're having chances and we're not taking them. So, anyway, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. That is the player ratings. Don't forget to check out the instant match reaction as well. If you've enjoyed this one, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. We'll get involved with as many of them as possible. And don't forget to check out the Football News 365 app as well. Big thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.